Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm sharing with y'all 4 of our best videos for 2024 of homemade products that we made to save money. Using what we had, we made what we needed, and it helps save money. In today's video, I'm going to show y'all how to take this plain all-purpose flour, and we're going to make bread flour, cake flour, and just self-rising flour for your biscuits or any other kind of baking recipes you need. So come on and let's get started. Hey y'all, and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be showing y'all what kind of flour we use. Travis buys the King Arthur non-bromine and unbleached flour. This is an all-purpose flour, and it's time to fill up my flour container. And what he done was we measured this out, and he bagged me up the exact amount of flour that I need to fill my container. He vacuum sealed it so nothing could get in it, and it stays fresh because I go through a lot of flour around here. If you buy the King Arthur flour in the 4-pound bags, I believe that's what size it comes in, the small one, it's around $6. So when you're trying to buy flour for self-rising flour, bread flour, or either that cake flour they carry, that can get expensive to buy all 3 different kinds of flour. So in today's video, I'm going to show y'all how to take our all-purpose King Arthur flour, and we're going to make cake flour, the bread flour, and self-rising flour. So you'll have it ready whenever you want to make biscuits and you don't have to add all your stuff to it. We're going to show you how to take this and make all 3. So y'all come on and join us in the kitchen as we start making our 3 batches of flour. Okay, I'm going to show y'all how he vacuum seals this. He measures it out, and then he vacuum seals it in these bags that he buys that's made for vacuum sealing with his vacuum sealer. And what he does is, and I've got a video on this too, about vacuum sealing, but I'll show y'all real quick. When he gets his flour in there, he'll take a paper towel and put around the flour. So if you put your paper towel in there, the vacuum sealer don't suck it up in the vacuum sealer and mess it up. So what you have to do is just put you a layer of paper towels on the top of the flour, and that stops it from getting in your vacuum sealer. And when you open it up, your flour, just the seal, the air gets back in it and it'll turn it loose where it feels like it's real hard. Once you open it up, it goes right back to soft flour. So we're going to leave this. I'm going to go ahead and just pour this in a bowl instead of putting it in my container right now. That way I can be taking it out to make our recipes with. So if y'all are like us and you do a lot of baking, you go through a lot of bread flour and self-rising flour. And if you make cakes for holidays, you go through a lot of cake flour. So in today's video, we're going to make all 3 flours using our all-purpose flour and see how they all turn out. I've been testing these and they work good. So I hope this helps y'all figure out how to make your own flours just by buying one kind of all-purpose flour. When using these recipes, you still follow your recipe you have for individual, say, cakes you're making, or if it's yeast bread, you still follow the exact recipe that you're making your rolls, cakes, or pastries with. Okay, we're going to start off with our self-rising flour. And what you're going to need for this one is baking powder, your 1 cup of flour, and some salt. And I'm using pink salt. You can use whichever salt you choose, but we just like pink salt, so that's what we're going to be using today. So let's turn around here, and we're going to make our all-purpose flour turn into self-rising flour. Okay, so the next time you're doing a recipe and it calls for self-rising flour, you don't have to go out and buy a bag just to have enough for that recipe for self-rising. We're going to show you in today's video how to make all-purpose flour self-rising. Okay, what you do is you'll take 1 cup of your all-purpose flour, and then you're going to take 1 teaspoon and a half of your baking powder. And this is the baking powder that we made the other day, and I've got a video on it, and I'll link it down below. I used this recycled can, and I made my homemade baking powder. So that's 1 teaspoon, and then you'll do a half, 1 and a half of baking powder. And then we're going to do 1/4 of a teaspoon of our pink salt. And now we're just going to take this and mix it all together. We're going to use that to be mixing all our recipes up. And then we're going to take a sifter. And this is the sifter I've got. I've got one that turns too. When I make a bigger batch, I use that, and I do it more at a time. But for this recipe, I'm just going to use this small one just to show y'all. Once you get your flour mixed together, you want to combine it good. So what you'll want to do is just sift this 1 cup of flour with that baking powder and salt. So if you're doing a recipe and it calls for 1 cup of self-rising flour, you can make it yourself if you've got the all-purpose. And that'll help you save money, and you don't have to buy all those different kinds of bags of flour. Right here, you're making your own self-rising flour. And just get it to go down in there. And then sift it again. So right there, we made our own self-rising flour out of all-purpose. It's that simple and easy. And it's a good way to restock your pantry and save money. Okay, for the next one, we're going to do our bread flour. And this one would be something like for pizza dough, yeast rolls, whatever you would want to do with make a loaf of bread. This would be the one you would buy if you were buying it at the store that they call bread flour. So I'm going to show you how to take this all-purpose flour and turn it into the same thing if you bought bread flour. Okay, for the bread flour, I'm not going to put my cup down in my flour because sometimes that packs your flour in these cups, scooping it out. So I'm going to take me something and I'm going to fill my cup up this time because I don't want to pack my cup. Put it real over the top, and then we'll take our spoon and we're just going to level it off. You don't want to pack it down in there. So there's our 1 cup of our all-purpose flour. Okay, and now what you do is you go in with your tablespoon and you're going to take out 2 tablespoons of your flour. So we're going to level that off too. You'll take it back out. Okay. And I'm making a mess with all this flour. But you can't help it when you're working with flour. You're going to have a messy kitchen. A messy kitchen is a happy kitchen. Okay, and now we're going to put, what you're going to put in this recipe is you're going to need cornstarch. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of cornstarch where we took the 2 tablespoons of flour out. You're going to put 2 tablespoons, level it off, of cornstarch. And then we're going to use this, and we're just going to give it a mix. And that right there is the same product you would buy if you bought bread flour. So now, just like our self-rising flour, we're going to sift our bread flour also. So we'll take our bread flour and put it in the sifter. And the same goes with this one. If you made a bigger batch, you'd probably want to use one of your bigger sifters. Or you could do it this way. It would just take a little bit longer. And you'll sift those together. That way, all those ingredients combine into your flour. That cornstarch gets combined in your all-purpose flour, turning it into your bread flour. And right there, we made bread flour out of all-purpose flour. It's that simple and easy. The next one we're going to do cake flour next. Okay, the next one we're going to do is cake flour. This flour is a flour you would use for cookies, cakes, and pastries. You can buy these individual bags of cake flour, but boy, does it add up. So in today's video, we're going to show you how to turn this all-purpose flour into cake flour. Okay? Alright, now to do the cake flour, you're going to need your all-purpose flour and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. So we're going to start off with our all-purpose flour. Now this one you have to measure out, and it takes a little bit longer. You've got to measure out 14 tablespoons of your all-purpose flour. You just scoop it in there and you want to level it out. So that's 1, 2, 3, 14, the last one. Okay, and now you're going to do your 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And make sure to level the cornstarch off too. And now you're just going to mix this together. And like the other two the bread flour and the all-purpose flour, we're going to sift this together. Now this right here equals your 1 cup, if you're doing a recipe, of your cake flour. And now we're just going to sift that cake flour together, just like we did the all-purpose flour and the bread flour. That way you make sure that cornstarch gets incorporated good inside that all-purpose flour, making your cake flour. When you buy cake flour and it's so fluffy and pretty, look how pretty that is. Making it yourself, it's just as soft because you're not packing it in there and you're measuring out your exact 14 tablespoons of your all-purpose flour and then adding that cornstarch in there, and it just makes it fluffy and pretty, just like you want your cakes, cookies, and pastries. So in today's video, we took all-purpose flour and we made cake flour, bread flour, and self-rising flour, all out of one all-purpose flour, King Arthur, no unbleached and no bromine. I hope y'all like this video, and if this helps you save money, let us know in the comments if you're going to try it. Thanks for watching. So now you don't have to buy all these different kinds of flours. There's cake flour, bread flour, all-purpose flour, and self-rising. Today we're making homemade powdered coffee creamer. It's super easy and shelf stable. So let's get started. Depending on how you like your coffee, if you want it with more of the milk in it, you could add 1 more tablespoon, but I'm going to stick to 1 tablespoon in mine. Don't that look pretty, y'all? And you won't have all those bad chemicals in your coffee. Hey y'all, and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show y'all how to make homemade powdered coffee creamer. Just the basic coffee creamer that you would get, and you can go ahead if you want to and add different flavors, whatever you choose you like. I like cocoa and I like the powdered cinnamon. I might put those 2 in mine. But we're going to turn around here and get started. I'm making this coffee creamer because we're going camping, and this is a good way to take coffee creamer with you on the go and not have to keep it cold or refrigerated in a cooler. So in today's video, we're going to make homemade powdered coffee creamer to take camping because we're going in a couple weeks and I need the coffee creamer. So let's get started. Okay, y'all, I'm going to show y'all this real quick of what you're going to need to make your homemade powdered coffee creamer. You'll need a container to put it in. You're going to need some sugar or sugar substitute, whichever you choose, a pinch of salt, some canned dry milk, a tablespoon of coconut oil, and any flavor of your choice. That's all it takes to make homemade powdered coffee creamer. And you don't have to have all those chemicals in your coffee. Okay, to make the homemade powdered coffee creamer, you're going to need a blender, or I'm using my Ninja. These work great. So if you've got a Ninja, use one of those, or any kind of regular blender would work, or even probably a food processor. You just want something that's going to mix it real good, and we are going to be making our own homemade powdered sugar to put in it. So now let's get started and make our powdered sugar first. Okay, we're going to go ahead now and measure out our 1 cup of sugar. There's our 1 cup of sugar going in the Ninja. And now we're going to put this on and make our powdered sugar out of this white cane sugar. Okay, now we've got our powdered sugar made. We're going to add our 1 cup of powdered milk. That's what our powdered sugar turned out to look like. And if you didn't want to do this process, you could buy your powdered sugar already made, but not around here. You know we like to make our stuff. Okay, now we're going to measure out 1 cup of our powdered milk. And I'll put a picture in right here showing you what brand of milk Travis and myself use for canned milk. But look how pretty and creamy that canned milk is. You can vacuum seal canned milk and it keeps a long time. And it will keep great. And I'm making a mess here. But look how pretty that canned milk is. Okay, now we're going to add that to our Ninja. The coffee creamers you buy are non-fat. They don't even have fat milk in them. All the coffee creamers are non-fat. But I like using the real canned milk that we buy, because it does have fat in it, and it just gives you that creamier taste to your coffee. Okay, now we're going to blend those two. Okay, now we're going to add to our coffee creamer just a pinch of salt, not much. And when I say a pinch, it's just that little bit right there is all you're going to add to your powder. And then you're going to give it another blend. So let's get it in there. When doing a coffee creamer, adding that little bit of salt to that sugar just offsets that taste to your coffee, and it makes it even that much better. And now I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and we're going to melt it in the microwave for just a second. I just want to have it melted just a little. One tablespoon of coconut oil. And now to the canned milk and the powdered sugar. With that pinch of salt, we're going to add our 1 tablespoon of our coconut oil. And now you're going to give that a blend. And now we're just going to scrape the sides right there, because I want to get all that coconut oil blended real good into that powder. When you first start blending it, it will get on the side of your blender, but then it all gets incorporated into your powder. Okay, now we're going to blend it one more time and decide if we're going to put any kind of flavor in it. Now you can tell that all the powder has got mixed in, incorporated good with that coconut oil. And the coconut oil will just make your coffee creamer a more richer, creamier taste when you put it in the coffee. Okay. I'm going to pour this out in a bowl. Now that's what it's looking like. You can tell that all that coconut oil now is blended in good with my powder mix. But that right there is homemade coffee creamer, just like you buy, without all the chemicals. Now I'm going to pour my coffee and show y'all what this coffee creamer turns out to look like. Depending on how you like your coffee, if you want it with more of the milk in it, you could add 1 more tablespoon, but I'm going to stick to 1 tablespoon in mine. Don't that look pretty, y'all? And you won't have all those bad chemicals in your coffee. Okay, so if you decide you want to add for the 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of sugar, and the 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, you would add 1 teaspoon of any flavor you like. But today, I'm just going to leave mine plain. And I'm going to be putting my powdered coffee creamer in this kind of container. You could use a mason jar. You could use an old plastic container that powder creamer come out of. But we're just going to add it to this today and be easy to dip out of. This container will be great just to open it up and dip out of my powdered coffee creamer. Okay, everybody, I hope y'all liked that video on how to make homemade powdered coffee creamer. If you do, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe if you hadn't already down below. Thanks for watching. Today we're making homemade pantry essentials. We're going to make cornbread mix, chili powder, and some Fiesta blend mix. Y'all come on and join us in the kitchen. Hey y'all, and welcome back. Today we're making some homemade pantry essentials. We're going to be making a few different pantry items that we use, and we mostly have these items in our pantry already that we can put together and make these mixes so we don't have to buy them. And we're going to be doing a couple seasonings too. So y'all come on and join us in the kitchen as we share these homemade pantry essentials that might help you save money and time. With the groceries right now as high as they are, it's a way that you can try to help save money in your kitchen for your family. Let's get started. Okay, today we're going to be using what we have to make what we need, so we don't have to buy it at the store. We can make these products that they sell. Today will be the little cornbread muffins at home with what we already have in our pantry. And today I'll be using my baking powder and some salt out of this. Now this right here is what Travis made me to keep our extra seasonings stored in these little mason jars. These are pints, and this is a great way to have your extra seasonings put up so you'll have them when you need them. Okay, the first recipe we're going to be making is the cornbread muffin mix. This right here is an easy way to make those little bitty batches of those cornbread muffins everybody likes in those little yellow Jiffy boxes. So we're going to make a big batch of this, and I'll share at the end how to make the little muffins, the exact recipe. But right now we're going to make our big batch of homemade cornbread muffin mix. Okay, I've already measured out my 2 cups of cornmeal. And now to that, I'm going to add 2 cups of the all-purpose flour. Okay, there's 1. Okay, and there's 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And now to that, we're going to do 3/4 cups of regular white sugar. Three-fourths cup of sugar. And now we're going to put 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And now to that, we're going to add our 1 teaspoon of salt. And now we're just going to give that a good mix and get my flour, the sugar, and the cornmeal and the baking powder all mixed together good. And you could use yellow cornmeal. The little Jiffy boxes actually do use the yellow cornmeal, but I'm just using what I have in my pantry, and I happen to have the white cornmeal. But if you have the yellow cornmeal, that works just the same. So now you have your cornbread mix ready to go whenever you are, and you don't have to buy those little bitty boxes. Okay, the way you would use your cornbread mix is to use 3 cups of the dry mix to 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, and a half a cup of melted butter. You would bake it on 400 for 30 to 40 minutes. It's that simple and easy that you can have cornbread mix in your pantry ready to go. Okay, y'all, the next one is the seasoning blend, and this is a chili blend. This right here goes great in chili, stews, dried beans, and even a lot more. You could probably decide whatever you want to use it in, but it's sort of like a chili powder, but it's got a little tang to it. So let's turn around here, and we're going to show you how simple and easy you can make this homemade pantry essential that you can use to spice up lots of different dishes with. Here are the ingredients you'll be needing for this: cumin, paprika, garlic powder, and dried onions, and some cayenne pepper. Okay, for this one you could actually use a mason jar if you wanted to, and go ahead and put it in your jar you're going to be storing it in and mix it all up at the end. But we're going to just use this bowl for the video today so y'all can see each ingredients. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of each one of our seasonings right here. That one is the paprika, and then we'll be doing the 2 tablespoons of cumin, 2 tablespoons of the garlic powder, and even 2 tablespoons of these dried onions. But now for the cayenne pepper, I'm only going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon, and I'm even leveling it out. I don't want it heaping up or anything, because I don't want my seasoning to be mixed up hot, to come out hot. I want it just to have a little bit of heat to it, but not much. So we done 1/4 teaspoon of the cayenne pepper. Now we have it all measured out, and now we got to give it a mix. Smells good already, y'all. And now I'll just store this in a mason jar and have it when I get ready. And when you're doing a recipe, you would put 1 to 2 tablespoons of this seasoning in whatever you're making. And boy, does it smell good. This right here is great in chili. Okay, y'all, the next pantry essential we're going to make is another spice blend. We're going to make a Fiesta ranch blend mix. And this is simple and easy, and this is great for tacos. It's good in even refried beans, chicken, pork, and even steak. So y'all come on and let's get started. Okay, the next one we're going to make is like a Fiesta blend. And we're going to make this using what we have, and it calls for chili powder. Use my homemade chili powder substitute that we just made in place of regular chili powder. We'll need cumin, parsley, smoked paprika, minced onions, garlic powder, chives, black pepper, and salt. This right here is a good blend to use on chicken and pork. Okay, for this one, you'll start off and we're going to add 2 tablespoons of the cumin, 2 tablespoons of our mixture we just made, and we're going to do 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of the onions, and some of this you are sort of doubling it because the recipe we just made before this one has some of these same ingredients, but it just will give it more flavor. 2 tablespoons of the paprika, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of parsley flakes, and then we'll do around a tablespoon of chives. And I'm not going to measure those down, I'm just eyeballing that. And now we've got to give that a good mix. That right there is going to be a lot of good flavor to have in your homemade pantry essentials. And now that you've got it all put together, just give it a good mix. And right there you have your Fiesta blend for chicken and pork. This right here would make great fajitas on chicken or even pork. And it may be good on beef. We've never tried it on beef. If y'all give it a try, let us know in the comments if it is good on beef. Okay, y'all, this is just 3 more pantry essentials that you can make at home with what you have to save money. I hope y'all give these a try. Okay, y'all, I hope y'all like our video on all these homemade pantry essentials. That's great to keep stocked up on so you don't have to buy them individual. You can use what you have and make what you need. So I hope y'all like our video, and if you do, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, and share our videos. Thanks for watching. Do you need buttermilk and you just don't have enough? Let me show you in today's video how to take what you have probably already in your kitchen and make homemade buttermilk. Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be making a recipe. And I need buttermilk, and I don't have quite enough. Travis bought this the other day, and he gave almost $4 for this thing of buttermilk. There's a way you can do it at home, and you don't have to buy that when you need just like 1 cup for a recipe. So in today's video, I'm going to show y'all the buttermilk substitute that you can try to help you save money, and you don't have to spend $4 on this. Let's turn around here and get started. So if you're in the middle of a recipe and you don't have quite enough of buttermilk, or like this is almost gone and I don't want to buy it again whenever it's gone, you can make it at home. So what you're going to do, you'll need you a measuring cup, and this is a 1 cup measuring cup. To start with, to get your buttermilk started, what you'll do, you're going to be using your regular milk, just whole milk. It's what we buy. I'm not sure about low fat and all that other skim milk. Y'all have to just give it a try and see. And if you know down below, leave it in the comments about other types of milk. But what we're going to measure us out, 1 cup of whole milk. 1 cup. And now to the 1 cup of milk, you'll add 1 tablespoon of either lemon juice, or you could use white vinegar, whichever you have. Use what you have is what I say. If you got it at home, use it. Don't go out and buy nothing special. But we're going to put 1 tablespoon of real lemon juice. And then you'll just give that a mix. And now, all you'll have to do is let this set for around 5 to 10 minutes. And while you're getting your recipe ready, just let this set here, and it will turn your milk into buttermilk. I'm going to bring y'all over here so y'all can see how it's already turning that white milk into some homemade buttermilk. See how it's already working? You can see it on the spoon, how fast that lemon juice will turn that into buttermilk. Just while you're getting your recipe ready, by the time you get through, you'll have a cup of buttermilk. Okay, for the next way to make homemade buttermilk, you'll need another measuring cup. And what you're going to do, you can use your sour cream to make your homemade buttermilk. Measure out 3/4 cup of sour cream. Now this version right here is good if you're making a cake, because it will give it a little bit more creaminess to it from the sour cream version of homemade buttermilk. Okay, let me tap this on the counter and see about how much we've got. But if you're needing a 1 cup of buttermilk, what you do is just fill this up to the 3/4 line. And I've got it right there at 3/4. Just make sure your sour cream is in there and you do have 3/4 of a cup. And after you get that done, there's 2 ways you can do this version of homemade buttermilk. You can add it up to the 1 cup line and add, you can use your whole milk, or you can just use water. I'm just going to use milk today, but you can use water. But we're going to go ahead now and we're going to add the remaining up to the 1 cup of whole milk. Okay, now we got to give that a mix. Now we'll just take this, and it's not as easy to mix, but you just take that milk and you'll mix it in that sour cream. Once you get it started, and you've got that milk getting incorporated into that sour cream, you don't have to do this, but the way I like to do it is I just take, and not a whole tablespoon, but I just let a few drops of my lemon juice go in. Probably 1/4 of a teaspoon of lemon juice, and finish mixing it up. And this one, like I say, it takes a little bit more effort to get that mixed up. But now this version of homemade buttermilk, like I said, is good for cakes. The sour cream will give it a little bit more of a tangy taste like you get with the buttermilk than just the milk version with the lemon juice or either vinegar. But y'all, look at that. And if you need it just a little bit more thinner like buttermilk, you could add a little dab more milk, but I'm going to leave mine just like that. And we're going to make some cornbread, and I'm going to use this in my cornbread recipe. Okay, y'all, these are 2 ways that you can make homemade buttermilk at home and not have to buy it at the store. It's a substitute for buttermilk, but it's the same exact thing. It's just a little different texture than what you're used to buying. But it acts the same in your recipes as the store-bought buttermilk. I hope y'all give these a try. Right now, with the groceries as high as they are, it's hard to spend $4 on a little quart of buttermilk. So I hope the next time that you're needing just 1 cup of buttermilk, you can make it with your whole milk and spend $2.90 or $3 on a gallon of milk with a little lemon juice and make your own buttermilk instead of having to spend $4 on these little quarts. Okay, y'all, that's our version of our homemade buttermilk. I hope y'all like this video, and if you do, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe down below if you hadn't already. And if you have any ideas on how to make this at home, and even what kind of other milks you could use to make the homemade buttermilk, leave the comments down below for all the viewers to see. All this right now might help with people having to buy groceries, because groceries are soaring right now. Prices are going crazy. So anything that we can do to help us save money at the grocery store right now will help. And this is just one way that you can do it and not have to buy these little things of buttermilk. I hope y'all give this a try, and if you do and you like our video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. That lemon juice will turn that into buttermilk just while you're getting your recipe ready. Look at that. And if you need it just a little bit more thinner, like buttermilk, you could add a little dab more milk, but I'm going to leave mine just like that. If y'all like this video, thanks for watching.